Today's video, we're going to talk about how Google uses RGSP, or Randomized General Secondary Pricing, to make you pay more money than you should be paying with your Google ads to rank first in the ad listings on top of Google, or second or third or fourth, or wherever you're normally showing up at or trying to be at. See how Google uses squashing, which is an actual term that Google uses internally, to increase your costs on your ads. I'm going to talk about what this squashing is. Randomized general secondary pricing is just a PC way for Google to put a word on something that they're trying to manipulate their customers, advertisers, to spend more money to maintain the customer flow or client flow that they're getting through their advertising platform. That is, you build up your business to get on and through Google Ads to get a certain amount of customers every month. You build up your overhead to manage that, and then Google rips the rug out underneath your feet to get you to panic and spend more. That's the general premise behind this RGSP, and I'm going to explain why, and I have proof of this. I run an advertising agency with dozens of clients, all using Google Ads. I've been doing Google Ads for 20 years. I saw all the changes that have come through. This is not a new thing. This is something that's been going on for some time now, i.e. years. And with that, though, I'm going to tell you how to deal with it, and so you can actually make the best of it, and ultimately ends up being a positive thing for you, given you know about what's going on, and your competitors don't, and they're going to be on a progressive slide of panicking, reacting, causing them to get even worse results, and you're going to be just simply laughing about the whole thing at the end of the day. So with that said, I will go into what all that is, but before I do, if you do not know who I am yet, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability upfront in excess of what our fee is. We're the only agency out there who does this, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing with you on today's video. So with that said, getting into it here, Google antitrust court proceedings recently revealed, because they got sued in court by the government, how Google raises their revenue every quarter at their customers' expense, the advertisers, okay? Which still to this day, Google has such a good reputation that our clients at our firm, when you tell them that Google is trying to take advantage of them, want to believe it or refuse to believe it. It's just like the Google reps. They reach out to them. People think, oh, they're reaching out, so we should have to listen to what they say. And I tell them, don't listen to them. They're salespeople. They're not going to help you make more money. They're there to make them more money. And they somehow just don't get it. Every company's out for themselves. They're not out for their customers at the end of the day. It's a business. It's there to make money. And a publicly traded company has to make money for shareholders, or they can go to jail for not doing that and favoring the customers. So of course, if there's a situation where they can steamroll you, the advertiser, to make more money for their shareholders, they're damn well going to do it because they have to. It's corporate law that they have to. So with that said, of course, they've got this golden goose, and they know everybody's going to want it because there's no competition. Of course, they're going to play some manipulative games in order to get more out of their advertisers, given the executives got to keep producing more revenue every quarter. Otherwise, they're going to get, their bonuses are going to get hit. They're going to get fired. And there's some infinite real games that they could play with their advertisers, given it's hard to switch away to get people manipulated into spending more and more for what they were getting before, which hasn't changed. Google has gotten to the point now where there's no more ad space to sell. I mean, of course there is, because their algorithm gets great at understanding a person who's on Google who has purchase intent that may not be searching for a buying term, but ultimately are so that they can put an ad in front of that person and get a sale from somebody that normally wasn't searching for a buyer term. That expands what they can sell. Most of the revenue nowadays comes from getting people to spend more on ads. And they do it through using their algorithm and special programming of their system to psychologically psyop their advertisers into doing it. I'm going to explain how this works here a bit more in detail. Because they're not minting more ad space on Google, if you will, or as they say, they have to get their advertisers to spend more money. And of course, people are only going to spend so much on their ads before their ads are not profitable anymore. And either the business stops doing it because they don't think it's worth it, or they're going to go out of business. They're going to go bankrupt, in other words. So with that said, on the top of Google, there's 4 ad spots. All right. As we all know. And the first ad spot, let's say this is you, followed all the things that I tell you about on this channel about how to make the most money out of Google ads. You have better click-through rates than the competition. You have better conversion rates than the competition. You've been patient in building up a history with Google so they know you're a serious long-term advertiser that's willing to spend a lot of money and do things right. Then as a result of that, you're at the very top position getting the most action, and it's profitable for you to do that. Okay? With that said, you're willing to pay $1 in ad spend to Google to get $4 in sales. And as long as they bring you that ratio of sales to ad spend, you're willing to spend an unlimited amount. The system's set up that way. Everything's going great for a while. You've built up your account and you built up your infrastructure in your company to handle all the additional customers that Google's bringing you on an ongoing basis. And you're happy to do it because you're making money and you're delivering your product and everything's great. The second guy in line that's ranking underneath you, you're willing to pay $1 for every $4 in sales you're getting. So is he. Your ads, though, normally showing up up top more because your ad's better and your landing page or your website converts better, which is what Google would want to do, is rank you first because you're providing a better experience to their users. So why would they not want to show you first? It makes people want to click on ads more in the future. All right. Now, with this RGSP crap involved in the process, they're layering on an additional layer of complexity to the system I just described. What Google does is they artificially increase the ad rank of this second guy here that's willing to spend the same amount of money for a customer that you are, even though his ad and his landing page is him in your place at number 1 and put you down in the second spot. Why do they do this? Simple. Because it can get you to panic into spending more for a customer than you were willing to spend before. Because I've talked about on this channel all the time. Yes, you tell Google with smart bidding, you're willing to spend $1 in ad spend for every $4 in revenue that they bring you. However, if you change your target ROAS, as they call it, or target ROI your campaign is set up to get, so that you're willing to take $3 in sales for every $1 in ad spend, or a 300% ROAS, Google's going to start pushing you out there more. You're going to be more competitive in the auctions, and you're going to have rank in the first position even higher percentage of the time, because you're usually never ranked number 1 100% of the time, or you'll just be in the top 4 a higher percentage of the time if you're not already in the first position. All right? And because the deal is, Google knows that when you build up the infrastructure in your business, you have to have it's a machine that you have to keep feeding no matter what. You got to have so many customers coming in on a regular basis to pay everybody's salaries, to pay for the light bill and everything else. And when Google Ads is your primary way of getting customers, which most people try to rely on it way too much, when they cut you off at the knees here, and instead of getting 50 sales a day, you get 25 because you're now in the second position instead of the first, which is about what you're going to have an experience if that happens. Yes, you're still getting $4 in sales revenue for every $1 in ad spend, but you're saying, I have to do something about this. There's something wrong. And then you go to your PPC guy and you say, why am I getting less sales before? What happened? What broke? Fix it. And then your PPC guy is going to say, I don't know what's going on, man. I didn't change anything. I don't know what to do. And then they're going to say, if they're halfway competent, but I do know what one option we do have is, other than doing nothing and hoping it fixes itself on its own eventually, which clients hate hearing, we can actually decrease our ROAS target, and that'll get us more impressions right away, like that. And then, even though a client doesn't like hearing that, it's better than doing nothing in their eyes, and it's better than getting half the business they had coming in before, because 3 to 1, they're not making a profit, but they're breaking even, or they're making maybe half the margin that they had before. So they tell their PPC guy to go ahead and do it. Like magic, the ad's now ranking in the first position a much higher percentage of the time. They got all their volume back, and it's left a mental imprint on that business owner's mind. That is, if I switch my target ROAS back to needing a 4-to-1 return instead of a 3-to-1 return, I'm going to potentially go back to that second position and go back to getting only 25 sales a day versus 50 sales a day. Then Google's got you right, got your balls right where they want it, which is directly in their vice. And they can now know not only just that they can get you to accept a lower margin by paying more per click than you had before, now understand they can squeeze that vice tighter and tighter and tighter on your freaking balls all the time until they've squeezed them so much you're about ready to die. And then, let's stop. We've got as much as we can out of this guy. We got as much as we can out of this search result. Let's not kill the patient. But they've got another quarter where they've increased the revenue, and it was off the back of their successful advertisers, which they need, but they just want to keep taxing them and see how far they can go with the taxing before the person just completely drops out. Now, naturally, I talk about on this channel all the time about how either on Google's need to have side, and the difference between that is you get all the best traffic at the cheapest rates, or you get traffic at the most expensive rates, and you don't make any money here. All the money's made over here. Because Google wants people to click on ads in the future, and they want the ads that are showing on the top of Google to be ads that are going to help their user and taking people to websites that they like. And that's the way that it is, because it gets people to want to click on ads and use Google in the future, and specifically click on ads in the future. With that said, okay, you want to do absolutely everything you can to have the best ad and best landing page in your space so that Google needs you, not just it's nice to have you around if they can take advantage of you, but whether you stay or leave. And in that situation, they have limited capacity to play games with you. If the other advertisers are doing half as good a job as you as an advertiser, and they get rid of you, they know that their auction now is going to be half as good as what it was. So, whereas they could try to play games with you, they have to be careful. It's just like if you had, your best customer ask you for something, you're going to be more flexible than if your worst customer asks for it. This is the same exact thing as that. So, with that said, if you're on Google's good side, they're not going to do as much to you. And when they're trying to get their revenue to go up for the next quarter, they're going to pick on the guys that they don't care about. And for that matter, there's 4 ads at the top of Google, by the way. There's, in a competitive market, 10 other guys cycling in and out of these 4 ad spots. So there's a total of 14 guys. Of the 14, there's 5 that they really don't give a rat's ass about at all. So what they would like to do is charge them more, not the top guys, which is why you have to do everything you can to get at least into the top 10 to 20% of quality advertisers that Google knows and sees. Otherwise, you're going to be a whacking post for Google anytime they need more revenue. Not to say that they don't do this to their top guys, because they absolutely do. It's just going to be less likely to happen itself. Okay? And when I say lesser quality traffic, when the lower quality advertisers get less quality traffic, I do mean it. They literally take all the people that's the least likely to convert, which they pretty much know who's likely to convert or not, based upon all the activity the person's done before they made the search for the last 20 years, because they have a profile on every user that they stock up and store in a server somewhere. They also know all of the individual traits you have itself as well, how old you are, your income, and so forth. And when the user makes a search, in real time, there's all these calculations going on as to what that person's likelihood to purchase is versus not, and then which ads to show. And if the person's not likely to convert, they're going to show an ad of a person they don't care if they stick around or not. If they are highly likely to convert, they show the guy that they want to stay around. RGSP, randomized general secondary pricing, is Google. They worded it that. It's just like the government. When there's inflation, what do they name the bill that fights inflation? That's going to cause inflation. The anti-inflation bill. It's like, if you read off the name of the bill, the actual purpose of that bill is probably the exact opposite of the title of the bill. This is the same exact thing here. There's nothing randomized about this. This is very, very, very freaking calculated stuff that's going on. Very sophisticated algorithms written by the world's best programmers to play a psychological game with their advertisers to figure out how to manipulate people into raising their bids or taking less for the same customers or spending more for the same customers they had with the maximum level of effectiveness. So there's nothing randomized about this. They're looking at your advertiser account and seeing the statistical likelihood that you would be willing to give up if they pushed you down into the second spot, in addition to calculating what's users going to think when you're in the second spot, and then making a decision out of all the different auctions out there, you should be the one that's picked on, if you follow me here. So there's nothing randomized about this. The randomized thing was, what Google says is, we don't actually push the first guy down to the second position to get more from them. We do it because we want to give the second guy a chance. We want to give everybody a chance so that everybody can get a shot at the first position and nobody actually that's just too dominant, is too good of an advertiser, gets all the clicks. They don't give a rat's ass about anybody. They want to make money, and that's fine. This is capitalism. We shouldn't complain that people are trying to make money. And it's their platform, and we could advertise somewhere else, but we're lazy, so we advertise on Google because it's easy to do. And that's it. Either, pull your panties up and deal with it, or you get run over, and you go out of business. So with that said, you've got to understand that this is not randomized. Google's not trying to give everybody a chance. They're going to mix up. They're going to shuffle the deck random times, random to us. For them, it's not random at all. And they're going to do that to try to keep people on their toes. And when they're fat and happy, those are the people they're going to come after and try to get a little bit more from them. Not so much they give up. And the answer to this, by the way, is if you see your impressions go down, you can raise your CPA target or lower your ROAS target to get your impressions to go up right away again. But if you play that game, you're going to be thought of as a sucker, and they're going to potentially do it to you again in the future until you've raised your bids as much as you possibly are willing to raise them. My opinion is when your impressions go down and you haven't made any changes in your account, there's no other good reason for the impressions going down. You wait 30 days for the impressions to come back when this happens, if it happens to you, when it happens, I should say. And also, if this happens to you and you need that volume, you're basically screwed. Google knows that you need the customers and you're willing to pay more for the customers, and they pegged you. Where you really defend against this is before it even happens to you. That is, the best offense is the best defense. You find other ways to get customers other than just Google, so that if you take a hit in impressions on Google, you can actually fill it in other places. Or let's say if Google ads is only 20% of your revenue, if you go from 20 to 10, it doesn't move the needle enough in terms of overall effect on your company revenue that you have to be so desperate as to say, after just one day of my impressions going down, I'm going to be willing to pay more for a customer, because they got you right where they want you at that point in time. So just know, going into the future, because they can't mint more ad space, they're going to try to do this to you. If you rely on Google too much, you are a sitting duck waiting to get hit with this thing. This has been going on for a few years now. This is nothing new. And for that matter, your impressions can go up or down just based upon this RGSP thing running. There's not always something that you did wrong, which is, by the way, the biggest mistake I see people make as new advertisers is if something goes down with their sales or ROI, their immediate thing is, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then they start making changes. I shouldn't have did that. I'll undo that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then they screw up their entire account, because every change you make in your ad account is going to risk the campaigns going back into learning mode. And if they go back to learning mode, your quality of traffic is going to go in the complete shitter. We'll have e-commerce companies that rely on phone calls a lot people call in before they order over the phone. If the campaign goes back into learning mode because, let's say, a big adjustment in the target ROAS was made, the calls go from what they were to random people calling for random things. And I don't know why Google does this to the degree they do it. And the way that their system is set up is to say, if we don't know what we knew before, we're going to completely go back to square one, figuring it all out again. Not completely back to zero, but close. And it'll take weeks to get it back to where it was again in terms of your traffic quality that you're actually paying for. I mean, and that's just the way that it is now. So with all that said, your best defense, like I mentioned, is to be the best advertiser you can. Not just to say, what do I need to do, but how can I be 2 or 3 times better than all the rest of the advertisers so that Google is going to be the least likely to mess with me. There's easy pickings somewhere else. And if they do mess with me, I still got other places to get business from. So I don't have to immediately react when something happens. And in fact, like I said, you don't want to just immediately react because any change you make will cause negative results before you get positive results if the change you made was positive. If it was the wrong change, now you got negative results because you made the change, and then you got to undo it, and that's going to cause even more negative results because that's another change, and then you still have to figure out what you're going to do. Your best bet, by default, is to change nothing. And if you are going to make a change, it's a well thought through change. Unfortunately, then you're in a position where if something goes wrong with your results, you got to wait a few days before you make a decision to change anything. And it's a few days where you could have reacted, but most people, there's nothing wrong and they're going to make a change, and that's going to cause them negative results, which they're going to say, now I have to make another change, which causes even more negative results, and it's a downward spiral right down the. So it's all in all, it's better to be cautious and not make any changes and be cautious about making any changes at all, because you can send your campaigns into learning mode, than it is to try to be too reactive. Google knows this. I know it because I deal with clients, but they know how their customers are. And if they can get your impressions to go down, the chances are you'll be reactive and be willing to spend more for a customer right away. And the only way to defend against it is just not be in a position where you need the volume from them. You don't need the sales volume from them. If you're not sure what to do, you're running into a situation where your results are poor, reach out to me and get a 30-minute coaching session from me. I can go through your results. I can ask you a few questions and let you know for sure. If you're not sure why your revenue is going down, I could look at your business, your website, and I could tell you pretty well what is your bottleneck that you're dealing with. Starting to do coaching calls recently. All the people that are getting coaching calls through me, literally speaking, are telling me that they're coming back later for another coaching call. Or they're doing that because the information I share is based upon 20 years of experience managing small businesses and websites that I've ran and so on and so forth. With that said, also, if you want to learn from the best advertiser on YouTube, you want to subscribe to this channel. And the information you get here is better than on other channels because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm. I'm doing all the strategy for all of our clients. We have, 50 clients roughly thereof. And I'm always on the pulse of what's working and what's not working because of that. Other channel, owners, they don't run any ads at all. They run a couple ads, they run a firm, but they're not doing the work. And therefore, the information is just as a result of that. You've got to actively be doing the trade to know what you're talking about. And very, very, very few channels do that. So if you want to pay attention to anything, you want to pay attention to this channel first. Furthermore, you should check out my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has even better information. It has the strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients, step by step laid out for you. Beyond that as well, if you're looking to hire the best agency that can get you the best results and will actually put their money where their mouth is and guarantee results before taking any fees, that's exactly what we do for clients at our firm. Reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. More than interested to at least have a conversation with you about the opportunity or potential of working together. As a side as well, we've been selling ad templates. These have been very popular in that if we've worked in your niche market before, instead of figuring out what is going to work in your market, just buy the winning ad campaign templates from us that we've used to run those same ads in a different geographic area or different country. If you sell printer toner, we've already done that. Use it for your campaign and you've bypassed the years of testing that we had to do to figure out how to do a campaign in that space good. we got people using these templates to start other businesses from scratch. If you want to sell printer toner, sell it in a country our client's not in, and it's a turnkey business basically with that. Given that most businesses, the hardest part to get that business to work is knowing how to run an ad campaign successfully for it. We worked in over 100 different niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this firm. So the chances are high we've already worked in an area that you're interested in. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And I'll tell you what results we got in your market of interest and or what markets we've gotten results in if you're not sure what you need. So, but with that said, that is, like I mentioned, what this RGSP thing is about and how to deal with it. How to deal with it, again, is find other ways to get customers. Don't make Google ads more than 30% of your revenue. And if it is right now, start using the profit you have now today to get other platforms going. Don't wait until this happens to you and then go out of business, because I've seen a lot of people go out of business relying on one channel, that one channel up, and their business is up as a result of it. Because it takes months to usually get a new channel profitable for your company, because you got to test it. And it takes time to get some traction with the algorithms if you're going to run Facebook ads or whatever. As they say in business, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're making money and you're pissing it all away on strippers and going out and buying new vehicles and all this other crap, you're just waiting to get clobbered. You need to take your money that you're making and get other channels working so that no channel is more than 30% of your revenue at any given time. Take it from me. That's the most common way that I see people that I've talked to in the past go out of business. Too little channels that they're relying on for customers. Bottom line, because they don't last forever. Either they're going to go away at some point or they're going to change at some point. It's not a matter of if, but when. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Google Ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.